So Binance CEO, I just found a clip about him. Be sure to smash that like button if you haven't already. But the Binance CEO Changpeng Zhao, I hope I spelled his name correctly, did go live on TV a few months ago and actually welcomed regulation. He welcomed one-to-one backing, but seems like this wasn't enough and the US government still took a slap to him. Luckily, they paid a $4 billion, which is nothing for Binance, but it does seem a very simple question that a lot of the CEOs actually do want regulation. Crypto is not becoming just a simple platform where people have fun. A lot of influencers, they do welcome all these type of activities and they're saying it's good for the industry, which it obviously is. Decentralization is for coins like Monero, which are completely private, used for different means than Bitcoin and Ethereum. Most people in Bitcoin and Ethereum are actually using Bitcoin as a retail investment, as a corporate investment, than just having it as such, just having it for fun. It's definitely a very big difference what's happening right now in the crypto industry. I think a lot of people are very much excited on what happens next. And if you guys want more content like this, be sure to smash that like button because I do have a lot more videos like this going on. But it does seem like that crypto companies have to hold an asset on one-to-one backing, and that's what usually banks do. Unless you have a bank run, usually banks should have, your funds. They shouldn't be like, you shouldn't do a deposit and then when people try to withdraw, it just says, oh, we're out of cash. Sorry, all these investments, we put our cash onwards. What they should do, what crypto exchanges should do, in my opinion, is they should invest based on profits because bear markets can hit at any time. And a lot of big influencers and other people also talked about this, especially Altcoin Daily and Binance CEO.
Into the speculation, well, if the largest exchange is offshore and we don't know what's going on behind closed doors of that exchange, Binance, then Binance has to lose heavy market share in order for a spot Bitcoin ETF to come into fruition. Does this make you more bullish on the spot Bitcoin ETF?
I mean, I'm bullish enough on the spot ETF, I think. I think it will come. Because I don't know how much this is going to necessarily affect Binance's market share. It's a massive fine that Binance has to pay for $4.3 billion. That is a heck of a lot of money, even for an entity such as Binance. But whether that affects its market share, I don't know, because it already doesn't really have a US presence. Obviously, the US market is huge, but Binance has, a pretty strong presence across much of the rest of the world. And perhaps this, these recent developments might be enough for other jurisdictions to go, well, look, Binance has settled with the US. As far as we're concerned, this sort of cloud has been lifted. That could pave the way for Binance to make up market share in those other jurisdictions. It could also increase consumer confidence. Users might be like, well, now that this isn't now that the US authorities aren't sort of circling Binance anymore, and this thing has presumably been resolved, that might make them more confident to trade on the exchange. So I don't think this is necessarily the moment where Binance starts to lose massive market share. I mean, it has lost market share over the last year or so, but it's still the biggest by a fair margin as well. And so I think, I think that's definitely worth bearing in mind. But having said that, I still think the ETFs are, more likely than not to be approved regardless.
I think in a lot of ways, CZ stepping down, paying the fine, just getting this over with, allowed Binance to dodge a bullet. It's like, let's all move on from this. Yet markets are emotionally driven, and the BNB token
could have been avoided if, and tell me if I'm wrong about this, you allowed customers to deposit and hold USDC instead of what it looked like was that you auto-converted them into your own exchange dollar. Am I wrong?
That's a minor corrections. So number one is we do the auto conversion into BUSD, which is not issued by us, which is not the exchange dollar. It's actually issued by a New York DYF licensed entity, Paxos. So the reserves are in New York. It's a stable coin. The problem we had before is we have many different types of stable coins on Binance, and Bitcoin trades against USDC, Bitcoin trades against BUSD and the USDT. There's TUSD. There's a bunch of other things, and then it's very difficult for users to find the best price. So we said, okay, they're all stable coins and they should convert 1-to-1. So let's combine all of them into one, so that the users just they want to buy Bitcoin, they go to Bitcoin BUSD and they find it. On the deposit and withdrawal, we do the conversion. We have channels to convert them 1-to-1, but the channels we have actually have to go through a bank, because to convert from BUSD to USDC, we have to sell BUSD into US dollars, cash in a bank, move it to a different bank account, and then buy USDC at a different institution. So that day, we had more users trying to buy or trying to deposit BUSD and withdrawing USDC. And we ran out of that. And the bank that does the conversion doesn't open until 6 hours later. And that's a bank in New York. So we were actually blocked. This issue was actually caused by a bank. So that's and stablecoin is the only one we convert. Every other asset, people deposit Bitcoin, we hold Bitcoin. People deposit Ethereum, we hold Ethereum.
Right. And you understand why I'm asking that question, because it does appear in that instance, at least, that when you said no amount of withdrawals would put you under pressure, by default, it put you under pressure. Now, whether it was you're doing or some other bank's doing. And so the question is, longer term, would you reevaluate how you do that?
So we have the assets to convert. So there's no margin, no leverage. We just needed the bank to open. So the bank opened 6 hours later. It was fine. So banks don't work for 24 hours a day. Banks only work for a few hours a day. And when banks are shut down, when banks are closed, you try to withdraw money, it doesn't work. That's exactly the same situation that happened. And we allowed people to withdraw other stable coins onto other platforms to do conversion if they want. So there was not a liquidity issue. It was just there was a conversion issue that was going through the bank.
In terms of the credibility of Binance, you disclosed that Binance holds about $60 billion of crypto assets. But thus far, you haven't disclosed your liabilities. And I wonder why that is and whether you will.
Yeah, so we are working with firms to do the audit of financials, liabilities, etc. Very simply, Binance does not owe people money. Binance does not have loans from other companies, from other funds. We just don't have it. You can ask any fund in the ecosystem. You can ask any VC. We actually also do not have VC investments, so we don't owe anybody any money. And we also do not have loans to other people that we depend on for our next payroll.
So this actually does prove a very fair point, and it does seem like these big crypto exchanges are actually coming up. They're paying their fine, they're paying their fees, and they're making a very fair point. Look, we paid money to the US government. We didn't make that much with Binance US than we did with Binance, so it could all be over. And Binance has a very fair point. Binance is still the number 5 top crypto, well, BNB is, and the exchange volume is still over 5 times the Coinbase, over 5 times anyone else. And the US government, I don't know which more exchanges it will sue, but these lawsuits are dropping left and right, and it's absolutely incredible. So I do think that the term outlook for these exchanges is they might get replaced, or they just might stay next to these big exchanges. There's enough money for everyone. It doesn't mean that because BlackRock or Vanguard is coming in that, we're going to be having the biggest problem for Binance as is, and we're going to be making no money next to all. No, it can mean that these exchanges can live with Binance and both BlackRock and Vanguard, which are one of the top, ETF holders, most prominent. They basically own probably 20% of the US real estate. Jokes aside, it's really important that in the long term we don't get a crypto winter soon, because this is the biggest hit for these exchanges. The crypto winters is when FTX crashes, is when Terra Luna Classic crashes, Terra Luna. And I just want to let you guys know, if you enjoyed this content, be sure to check out my other videos. Until next time, peace everyone.